Class, I had just started the viscosity. I had studied what is viscosity. So viscosity is depend on the nature of the viscous nature of the liquid, and it is generally we are defining as the force in dynes per square centimeter required to maintain a difference of velocity of 1 centimeter per second between the two parallel layers of the liquid held at a distance of 1 centimeter from one another. So that is the definition, and generally they will ask for the 2 marks. That is the definition. And then a unit, generally the viscosity is expressed in terms of poise, and actually unit of this viscosity is dynes seconds per centimeter square, and this is called as the poise, which is name on the scientist name. And this is also 2 marks question. The effect of temperature on the viscosity of the liquid decreases with rise in temperature. That decreases from 1 to 2% per degree rise in temperature. This is also the last class I told you. Now we'll go to what is called as the determination of viscosity of liquid by Ostward viscometer. So this is the apparatus or instrument, very simple instrument called as viscometer, and which is given by the scientists called as Ostward, and later it was called as the Ostward's viscometer. This is a U-shaped glass apparatus containing 2 bulbs. One is a bulb A. Okay, this is a bulb A, as you see my cursor, and this is a bulb B. Bulb B. Bulb A is at a lower end, and the bulb A is at the lower end of the tube, and the bulb B is at upper end of the tube. Generally, the bulb B is smaller in size compared to the bulb A. And just below the bulb B, there is a capillary. This is a capillary, a fine capillary, where the liquid will flow. So a known volume of the liquid will be added here in this bulb A, and then we are just sucking on the other side. Then we are allowing and we are calculating. How we can do? We can see that. So see how we can do this. The liquid, how it flow, they had shown. This is the liquid which flow very easily. This is the water. You can see that how it flows. And this is the chocolate, which is little thicker, and it flows. And then the honey, this is very flowing very not that easily. So this is the viscometer, as what I had just told you, that is Ostward viscometer. And here we can see what are the apparatus we required. We required the viscometer, the stopwatch, and liquid, the specific gravity bottle, pipette, and the balance. So this is the viscometer, Ostward viscometer, as this is a bulb A and this is the bulb B. And as you add the water here, and because of the gravity of that water will increase here, and we have to add the water depending on the capacity of the bulb A. Depending on the capacity of the bulb A, we have to add the liquid. So the quantity of the liquid what we will add in the bulb, that is a bigger bulb, that is A, is fixed. It is either 10 ml or 15 ml depending on the bulb B. So before starting, we have to wash the viscometer by using the chromic acid. What you can see in the screen is the chromic acid. We have to wash it with the chromic acid. Then we have to wash with the water, and then we have to dry it by using the acetone. This is the acetone. By using, we have to dry it. This is what actually you will do in the practical. We will do. Then we have to add a known quantity of the liquid in the that is what is called as okay, here we are adding, that is in the Ostward viscometer we have to add, and then we have to suck the liquid. We have to suck the liquid from the other end. So here there are two marks are there. One is the upper mark and the lower mark. We have to suck the liquid much above the mark, much above the mark. We have to suck the liquid, and then we have to allow the liquid to flow down. Okay, allow the liquid to flow slowly. Now, as the meniscus touches the upper mark, as the meniscus touches the upper mark, we have to start the stopwatch. We have to start the stopwatch. So here we are keeping the stopwatch with along with this. So immediately as it touches the upper mark, the meniscus touches the upper mark, we have to start the stopwatch, and this is the stopwatch. And when the meniscus touches the lower mark, you have to stop the stopwatch. In this way, you have to take the time required to flow the liquid. First, generally we are using water as a known liquid from upper mark to lower mark. You have to repeat this procedure at least 3 times. Here we are not changing the water every time, the same water we are using, and we are just sucking, and then we are allowing the liquid to flow down. As it touches the upper mark, we have to start the stopwatch. As the meniscus touches the lower mark, you have to stop the stopwatch, and you have to take the time, record the time, then we have to take the average time. Once the liquid first, like water or known liquid, is completed, you have to remove that liquid. Once again, you have to wash with the chromic acid. If not the chromic acid, at least with the water, and then store and dry. So this is a dryer, what you can see in the screen. Okay, on the screen, what you see, that is a dryer, and hence you have to dry it. And then we have to take the liquid under examination. So procedure is once again the same. We have to take the only condition is that we have to take the same volume of the liquid. If we are taken 10 ml of water, the 10 ml of liquid you have to take. If you are taken 20 ml of water, 20 ml of liquid. So volume will be remain the same. The procedure is once again the same procedure. You have to suck the liquid above the upper mark and then allow the liquid to flow as it touches what is called as the upper mark. Meniscus touches the upper mark, start the stopwatch. As the meniscus touches the lower mark, stop the stopwatch. Take the time for flow for liquid under examination, whose viscosity or coefficient of viscosity has to be determined. That once again we have to record it, and once again here also we have to repeat at least 2 to 3 times to take the exact reading. Once you had recorded the readings, now for example, if you say one is the time for the water and T2 is the time for what is called as the second liquid under examination, then we have to record the time T1 and T2. The second part is the determination of density. Determination of density already we had seen in the earlier cases where we are using the visco, that is a specific gravity bottle. You have to wash and dry, and then you have to take what is called as the weight of the empty specific gravity bottle, and then you have to fill with water first, and then once again take the weight with the water, and once again you have to go for the second liquid, take the liquid, and once again take what is called as the liquid. Here temperature will also be recorded. Temperature will also be recorded, and by using this formula eta2, the viscosity or coefficient of viscosity of second liquid, unknown liquid, which is equal to eta1 into the rho, here rho or d. Sometime we are using the rho, or sometime we are using the d. Rho is the density of liquid second, T2 is time for liquid the 2, rho 1 is the density, and like that. So here it is that that absolute viscosity of water, eta 1, T1 is time for flow of water, the rho 1 density of water, eta 2 absolute viscosity of the liquid, T2 time of flow of liquid, and rho 2 is the density of the liquid. So sometimes you are using the rho, or sometimes you are using the D, simple D for the density of the water and the liquid. Just by using this formula, simple formula, because you know all the quantities here, eta 1 is known as the liquid is known, so we know the density of viscosity of water. So it is 8 into 10 raised to minus 3 poise, 8 into 10 raised to minus 3 poise. So that we can add our 0.008, that value eta 1 for water, and then we have to just calculate the eta 2, the viscosity under examination. So here, this is a graph we are just that is a time of flow in seconds, and then composition of the liquid mixtures are given. So here actually this is not there for you present, but when you go for the higher classes, you have to do that. This is also, and here by just taking the readings, and we can calculate the composition by knowing what is called as time, and hence by taking the time we can calculate the composition of the liquids. So now this is the determination of what is called as the viscosity of a liquid, or the coefficient of viscosity of a liquid, by using the Ostwald viscometer. So it is a simple part, not that difficult, a very simple part, that is characteristic property of the liquids, and that is the refractive index. It is a refractive index. Now, already you know that when the light is traveled from one medium to the another medium, the light bends towards the normal. There is a change in the direction of the light, a change in the direction of the light, and this generally it bends towards the normal. And this property of the light, when it passes through a rarer to the denser medium, is called as the refraction. It's called as the refraction. So when a ray of light passes from air into the denser medium, air is a rarer medium, and the denser medium may be the liquid or the solid, it bent or it refracted towards the normal. So this is a very unique, the phenomena of the light when it travels. This is what we called as the refractive index. The ratio of the sine of angle of incident and that of the sine of angle of refraction is a constant, and this constant is a characteristic of liquid, and this constant ratio is called as n, and this n is called as the refractive index of liquid, and it is written as the sine I by sine r. So this is the figure, you can see that. So this is the ray, this is the ray, and this you can see that this is called as incident ray, and this is the refracted ray. So there are one more is reflection. Reflection is different, refraction is different. Keep it in mind. Reflection is like that when the light is falling on your mirror, I think you know that mirror, the light get reflected. It is a reflection. It get reflection. It changes its direction. It changes its direction, and that's called as the reflection. And here, this is we called as the refraction, where the light travel from one medium to the another medium, rarer to the denser, and as it moves from rarer to the denser, there is a change in the direction of the light ray, and that actually it always bends towards the normal compared to the incident ray. The refracted ray bends to the normal, and that is what we called as the refraction of the liquids or the denser medium. Now this is a what is called as, once again, the refractive index here. This is also only a 2 marks, simple definition. The ratio of sine of angle of incident and that of the sine of angle of refraction is a constant and is characteristic of the liquid. And this constant is called as the refractive index, and it is represented as the sine I by sine R. Okay, sine I, the angle of incident divided by the sine of angle of refraction. I here is angle of incident and R is angle of refraction. The sine of angle of incident divided by the sine of angle of refraction, and that ratio is always a constant, and that constant we called as the refractive index. Okay. Now once again, what is the importance of this here? Because by studying the refractive index, we are studying 2 more parts in that, small parts we are studying. One is called as the specific refraction. The specific refraction. So here, the specific the refractive index of a liquid changes with the wavelength of the light and also with the temperature. So the refractive index of any liquid is depend on the 2 factors. One is the wavelength of the light what we are using and the temperature. So there are different sources of the light we are using. One source which is available, it is a natural source or visible light, and then we are using some other sources like the sodium light, the mercury light, the iodine, and so on. Generally, when you go from the sodium to the mercury or mercury to iodine, the wavelength changes. The wavelength of the light changes. As the wavelength changes and as the temperature changes, naturally the refractive index is also changes. Just to eliminate this effect of temperature, the Laurent and Lorentz, they had shown purely on the theoretical basis that R, which is equal to n square minus 1 divided by n square plus 2 into 1 by d. It is a purely basis. So this R is called as specific refraction, and this specific refraction is once again not depend on the wavelength of the light what we are using, as also it is not depend on the temperature, because this density is also what is called as a function of temperature and the wavelength, and therefore as the density changes, the n changes, and because of that reason that neutralizes that effect, and hence this R what we called which is where n and refractive index, where n is the refractive index, is the density of density, and R is a constant which is called the specific refraction or refractivity, and which is completely independent of the nature of the wavelength what we are using and the temperature. So this is once again a 1-2 marks question what we will get. One more is called as the molar refraction. So the molar refraction generally we are using for to decide the structure of the molecules. That is the application, but in the syllabus it is not mentioned. It is not mentioned that application of molecular refraction not mentioned. So I'm not going into that what is called as refraction the application, but this part is there. Generally they may ask for the 2 marks, the molecular refraction. Here that specific refraction is multiplied by their refractive respective molecular weight, that is Rm, which is nothing but n square minus 1 divided by n square plus 2 into m by d, molecular mass. M is the molecular mass. Now, when you multiply that entire equation, that R equation, the specific refraction, by the molecular mass or molecular weight, what you are getting is the molar refraction. And this molar refraction is actually the characteristic property of the liquids. It's the characteristic property of the liquid and remain constant at different temperatures. And this actual property was used for deciding the structure or constitution, because this is a additive cum constructive property, as what we had studied, paracore, surface tension, and the paracore. Surface tension directly we are not using, but we are using the paracore as the additive cum constructive property. In similar way, here not refractive index we are using, but molecular refraction is used as which is additive cum constructive property, and which is used in the construction or in deciding the structure of the molecules, particularly organic molecules, in the doubtful cases. But as I said that it is not there what is there in the syllabus, so I'm not just taking that part, I'm just leaving. Then we'll go the next part of that, and that is the determination of the refractive index by Abbe's refractometer. Okay, so how that Abbe refractometer look like? So we can see that this is the Abbe refractometer. This is the Abbe refractometer, and this is as you can see, this is called as the telescope. Here you can see that here this is the prism box. This is a prism box. Okay, and back side you can see that this is the scale. This is the scale where we can see the readings. You can see the readings, and this is a knob which is connected to the prism box, and here this is called a mirror, which is we are using to reflect the light, not the reflect the light. Okay, this is the one side of the image, another side of the image of what is called as Abbe refractometers. There are different types of the refractometers. Here we are using Abbe, it's the name of the scientist, we had given that. So this is the Abbe refractometer. Now how it works, we can see that this is the sketch diagram of that. This is the prism, one is the lower prism and the upper prism. Okay, lower prism and the upper prism. So these prisms, between that prism, we are keeping the sample of the liquids, and as I said that this is the telescope. This is the telescope, what is there here, and that is important, that telescope what we are using, this is the telescope. Now by using this simple principle, we are determining what is called as the refractive index directly by using the Abbe refractometer. The aim is to determine, how to determine. Here we are using the different liquids. Okay, so this is the apparatus, you can see this is our Abbe refractometer, and then the cotton we are using, this is our source, liquid acetone for the cleaning, and this is so I'm just before going to that, okay, let's see the procedure. So this is the refractometer here. Now you can see this is the source of light is coming. Now what actually we are doing, first we are adding a liquid sample here in this prism, and then we are closing the prism. Now as you close the prism, the liquid will form a very thin layer, will be formed of the liquid. Now as you closed, we have to close it, and then we have to adjust what you call as the, here you can see that it is adding here, and after adding we will close that. Okay, liquid that is added and the close. Now after closing, we have to adjust the mirror in such a way that the light has to be reflected in the prism. Now, in this case, very important thing is that the lower prism, there are two prisms are there. One is the lower prism and the upper prism. The lower prism is slightly granded. Slightly granded means it's not smooth surface. It's not the smooth surface because, as you know, glass is a very smooth surface, but the lower prism surface is slightly granded and the upper prism is absolutely smooth. Now, what happened here is when the light is reflected from the mirror into the lower prism, that is a refraction is taking place because light travel from rarer to the denser medium. Now, when it enters to the surface of the lower prism, the scattering of the light is taking place. The light is scattered from all the direction, and that is the reason why the lower prism is slightly granded. So the light is distributed equally from all the surface. Majority, almost all 99% of the light get reflected here, and only one particular light is having what is called as the grazing incident. The grazing incident means a certain light having a particular angle which enter into the liquid. So once again, the refraction is taking place because it now travels from what you call as the denser to the rarer medium. The solid is a denser, the liquid is the rarer medium. And here, once again, the majority of the light which is entered is filtered off. Filtered off means the majority of the light get reflected, and only one particular light, which I said that as the grazing incident, because the term has used here, the grazing incident, that light having one particular angle which enter into the upper prism at a one particular direction. So that light we have to catch hold in the telescope by rotating this knob. By rotating this knob, we have to catch hold that light. Once you catch hold, you can see that this is the view what you are getting. Telescope will have a cross wire. I think you know that the telescope will have a cross wire. So in the telescope, you can see the two part. One is called as dark area and the bright area. So this is called as the dark area and this is called as the bright area. So we have to divide, and there is a line, exactly a line will be there which divides the dark and the bright area, and then we have to exactly adjust this line to the exactly center of the cross wire, as we can see in the figure. Once you adjusted in the cross wire, because this visibility of this is possible only at one particular angle. If you just on move here and there, you can't see. Only at one particular angle, that is what we call as the grazing incident. That is a one particular angle, that type of visibility you can see, or this type of the image you can see in the telescope. And once you can see that, to adjust to the cross wire, and when you adjust the cross wire, as already I said that this Abbe refractometers are having the scale. This is the scale here, this is the scale, and this is the scale what is there, and we can directly see the scale by using the eyepiece. Now, once the liquid is over, then you can repeat that, taking any type of what is called as the liquid. So here we can see there are many different types are there, different types we can using. We can use the what is called as the microparticles in the liquid. There's the applications, microparticles in the liquids, that is, or we can also find out the dust particles present in the atmosphere, and so on. There are many large number of applications are there, and that is what we are measuring by using what is called as the Abbe refractometer. So this is the determination of the refractive index by using Abbe refractometer. Now this is also experiment you have, but you have that in the third year. Means in the final year, you will do the same experiment, what you had seen, the same experiment, same the apparatus you will use, and that you will do in the final year. But first two, that is surface tension and viscosity, you will do next year, that is in the second year, whereas this experiment that is called as using the Abbe refractometer and calculating or determining the refractive index, and by using that you have to calculate the other the properties, and that you will do in the final year. Okay, so here, and what is called as the one topic, that is liquid state.